Welcome back to the Third Gen Workshop, everybody. If you like our videos, please take a minute and hit that subscribe button. Today's video is part 2 of how to install and wire your trailer with a 7-pin wiring harness. In this video, we will cover installing your running lights, installing the rear turn signals and brake lights, wire cleanup, reverse lights, and how to use wire loom and heat shrink. Let's get started.
I recommend you go over to some place like Battery Plus Bulbs, a battery shop, and pick up one of these small little 12-volt batteries. You can use these in your e-brake emergency disconnect system, so you have a backup battery. If you have one of those, you can just pull the battery out and use it. But the reason these are really nice is for testing out your lights. The most trailer lights, unlike this one here, most trailer lights, these wires are black and white. And on the trailers, especially if you remember from the diagram, the ground is white and the hot, in the case of a running light, would be the green. These are probably a Chinese company, and they wire these up typical automotive wiring. So just to validate that on these wires that the black is ground and that the red is hot, you can use one of these 12-volt batteries and just touch the wires to the appropriate terminal. And see if it comes on. So when we wire up the trailer, the wires that we connect to, things like this, is we will do white to black for our ground, and then for these running lights, we will do red to green for our running lights. So any type of light you have, you need to just, if it doesn't come with instructions, because sometimes they don't, you don't want to assume that they're using automotive standards, because the trailer wiring is a little different. Test it just to make sure, and then note it on your diagram. For example, my license plate bracket that you'll see later on in the video, I got that from eTrailer, and it came black with white. White was the ground, black was the hot. So I went white to white, and then black to green. And I'll show you that later in the video. So these are a great way to test your system. You can build lead connectors like this, where you have a female on the one end, and then just put the round a round piece on the other end, and then you can connect this up, white to black, and then whatever other color is to positive, and then you can put these terminals right inside of your 7-pin wiring harness to then actually test everything out. So remember, this bottom one here is your ground, and then your running lights, and then just by having everything connected up, you can see it will light up, what you already have wired up on your trailer. So it's a great way to test your lights, just to make sure that all your connections are working as you expected them to. Now, if you watch the prep video, you'll know that I used a template and I pre-drilled all the spots for my running lights on the side of the trailer. The bottom of the 3 holes is for where the wires run through, and then the other 2 are for where most people use screws. I'm going to use rivets. So with that, we'll start. I'll show you how we're going to install these lights. These are actually very simple. A little screwdriver, and just give it a little twist, and they pop right out. Wires, slide those in first. Now I'm using 3/16 by 3/4 inch rivets instead of screws. These are aluminum rivets. I pre-drilled the holes for these. They'll secure these lights very well on the other side. push that in for me. Give it a push. Thank you. Nice and secure. You look on the back side, you can see where the rivets have secured in and the wires have come through. Once you've got it in place, just pop the lid back on. The 3 rears on. Right light on. The second one will be on the side of the brake light housing. It's a round one. We've got 4 on the side, including one of those up on the front on each side. With the battery test, red is positive, black is ground. Because I want to stay consistent with my trailer wiring scheme, I'm going to attach white to the ground and green to the red, so that way when I wire it into my trailer, I'm attaching my ground to the white and my 12-volt running lights to the green. We're going to use on this end the kind of terminal that has heat shrink and solder built in, and then on this end we're going to do a tap, a waterproof tap. This will also be covered in wire loom when we're done, with T-connectors and wire loom coming out to here, with some attached to the bottom of the deck, so everything will be secure. So this will come up and down. So when you have enough wire to accommodate the wire loom being secured up here and then coming down into a T. That should provide some waterproofing and some longevity to the cables as well. So we're going to cut what we need. And we'll strip the ends. Now, on these, they're really long, so I'm actually going to fold them over and wrap them, because the ends that are going on here are the type that you heat up with a heat gun and the solder melts, and then they're also heat shrinked. So remember, we're doing white to black, and then you can see the solder piece in there. Okay, now we'll put our ends on. See, these things will be able to go up and over and down. And what these are a male with a female end and a tap. So we'll put the male ends on first. Just like that. And we will put one. Probably need a pair of pliers to lock these down. So let me go grab a pair. All right. So those are clipped in. And then we clip into the 12-volt power. And now, plug it in, and plug it in. Now it's just a matter of getting our wire all tucked into the wire loom and secured up here so it's up and out of the way. So we do this for all the trailer lights going down on both sides. One thing I forgot to mention was the license plate. So the license plate lights, most of them come with a black and a white on the license plate. The white is ground and the black is your 12 volt. I put in the round side marker, so I have the big rectangle one on the side over here for the red, back red one. And then I have this one on the side of my taillight housing. Just like the other side markers, red is your hot, black is your ground, white to black for the ground, green to the reddish pink for the hot, so that'll line up. I have to install this bracket for the lights I'm going to mount. They're going to shine up on the deck, and then I can finish wiring up these lights. I'm somebody who likes a lot of light when I back up, and I like work lights. And so I have a bunch of these lights that we're going to mount down here on the back of the trailer. There's going to be 3 per side. One will be wired into the backup lights, and then the other 2 will be wired up as work lights. Again, another video. So the ones that we're going to wire up as part of the harness, I'm going to go ahead and get that one installed and mounted. So we have the right side secondary backup light installed. Now we're going to install the trailer brake light as well. We're going to start by cutting back some of this excess wire that we're not going to need. Again, it's always better to run a little bit extra wire than not enough. All right, since the side markers are going to be just directly tapped in, I'm not going to use the butt connectors to shrink it. I'm just going to put the taps on right onto the green and white and go from there. Now, it is recommended that you put the rubber piece in first. Because this is the end of the string, I'm not going to use those soldered butt connectors. Instead, I'm going to use these posi-lock connectors. They look like this. They unscrew from each side. You run your wire through this part, and then it screws into this metal interior piece. So yeah, see, I don't need quite that length, so we're going to cut these a little short. Now, we'll run each of these ends through, and then we'll put the center section on, and they just twist together, and then they don't pull out. Alright, so these are ready to go. Now we'll strip the ends on the trailer wiring. Okay, remember, on the light, black is ground, but on the trailer, white is ground. So we're going to... The white wire on the light is your running lights. So that goes to your green wire off your trailer. Your brake light is the same on both sides. I'm sorry, your brake light is brown on the right side. So the brake light goes to the red wire on your tail lamp here. Your reverse light is yellow on both your trailer and on your light assembly. Okay, now I'm just gonna tuck all these wires in here nice and back in there, and then before I pop this in all the way, wire up my secondary backup light first, and then we're going to test everything just to make sure it all works. We're going to just be able to hook these T-connectors right up into the harness. All right, we got a bad light. So both the backup light in the tail light and my secondary light work. So all the wiring checks out. Now we need to wire up the left side. The brake lights are all wired up, including the additional 2 reverse lights that we have put in. Left turn, right turn. So as you can see, all the auxiliary lights are working. Side marker, the new 3-bar in the back, side markers. These LED lights are nice and bright. On the trailer wiring, as you can see, this trailer is quite long. It's a little over 20 feet, sloped back deck, etc. I've got all the side markers on, for running lights at night. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to install 4 of these LED light strips. And I'm going to install on the wire rails underneath the trailer, where I will have my wire looms and everything when the wiring is all done. I'm going to install 4 of these as well, 1 on each corner. I'm going to tile these into the running lights, so that way at night each of the 4 corners of my trailer will be lit up. We'll make it easier, when you're doing lane changes, especially when there's no car on your trailer at night. Just those white markers, these will be facing down. Like this. Having that white LED soft glow on the trailer will help me see where the trailer is at night. Of course, that also looks nice, but it's really more about safety than anything else. All right, for those of you who remember or watched the trailer prep, I'd already drilled 3 holes for these running lights. 1 hole was for the wires to go through, which was in the center, and then 2 holes on the end for the screws. They got a little bit of paint in the hole, so I had to take a drill and open them up a little bit. Lights in. We will wire this to the wiring harness back here, just like we did the side markers. We'll just use a tap and T, and off we go. We have 2 things left to do on the trailer. The first thing is wire cleanup, getting all this stuff, all of these wires in the looms and secured to the frame and to these wire runs. And then the second thing is every place that we have wires coming out of the frame, like right here, we're going to put some silicone in here to keep these wires from moving around and ever chafing. As we do the wire loom, we're gonna bundle these together in heat shrink as they come into the harness. So just more protection, and then we're going to secure them all at the top. Progress on installing the wire loom. As you can see, nice black wire loom. All the wires are tucked in, protected, so another layer of protection for the wires. Makes that nice and clean compared to, kind of a big mess down there. Also got this wire was heat shrunk and then wire loomed and then secured to the deck. So nice and tight. We'll eventually put in some silicone here and here when we get to that point. This area, heat shrink tape that I can start and put around all this. So we'll figure that out. Might leave it. It's secure. These connections aren't going anywhere, so I might leave it as is, but just continue to keep everything else nice and clean as we go. As we are continuing cleaning up all the wiring, the front of the trailer is all done, and the right side, you can see all of the loops coming in from the wire loom coming in from the side markers. You can kind of see down there in the back the white and the blue hanging. Those are for my electric brakes, which we haven't put on yet. Everything is secured and tightened up down the right and the left side. Last thing we're going to do is put some silicone in these holes for all these wires. A standard window door siding trim, silicone, something that's weather resistant. It's made for external uses, will work just fine. I'm going with black just because everything else is black, but you can go with clear or whatever color. Just want to fill that hole. We'll do this for each of the locations where the wires come through. We're also going to do this one up here where the orange and white wires come through for the auxiliary lights. On the back of the trailer, where I have these auxiliary lights coming through the frame and I have my holes for my brake lights, I want to fill these holes in, especially this one because it's pretty big. And then these other older holes that were here when I got the trailer. So we're just going to fill these in as well. We'll do this on both sides, and then everything for the trailer wiring is complete.
Thank you for watching. If you like these videos and want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. Our next video in this series will be installing a trailer battery and the components to include a battery box, a deep cycle AGM battery, how to properly ground your battery to the trailer, installing a trickle charger, and shore power. Look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good day.